Good morning, students, and welcome back.
I am Mrs. Sunita Pardesi. Today we are going to start Political Science Lesson 3rd, India's Defense System. Defense means to protect. We know, students, the main aim of any country is defense from foreign aggression and internal unrest and keeping the borders safe. For this, every nation creates a defense system at the national level. India has also created such a system, and in this chapter, we are going to understand its nature and study the challenges it faces. So, first we will see what is national security.
The international system is made up of sovereign nations. Sovereign nations means independent countries and who have their own governments, even if they cooperate with each other. Sometimes there are conflicts between these sovereign nations over boundaries, or sometimes conflicts emerge between them over water sharing.
Boundaries dispute, you know, students very well about India, Pakistan, China, India border issues, etc. Then, issues of water sharing. Water sharing issues are particularly related to the rivers. Many rivers flow from different countries. For example, River Indus, which originates from Tibet, China, then into India and ends in Pakistan at the Arabian Sea. So, in this situation, sometimes there creates a problem of sharing of river water.
Some other reasons for conflict could be not following the terms of international treaties. Treaties means written agreements in between two countries or maybe by international organizations.
Continuously competing each other.
This competition may be related to the weapons, arms, etc. Migration of refugees from neighboring country.
So, you know, students, very well about the 1971 war in between India and Pakistan. Before 1971, the east part of Pakistan, which we know nowadays as a Bangladesh, started domination from the West Pakistan. Nowadays, it is known as Pakistan. And then people started migrate to India. India started problems due to that refugees. And when this problem was not solved, peaceful means at that time there was a war in between India and Pakistan, and there was a creation of Bangladesh. Whenever such a conflict of interest arises between nations, it is sought to be resolved by compromises and discussions. But when such efforts are not enough to resolve the conflict, a nation may even think of war. If compromises are not there and if discussions are not taking any positive reports, then they are selecting the option of war.
When a nation attacks another nation and challenges the sovereignty of the nation. In any situation, a nation's first duty and responsibility is to keep the security system always well prepared and ready. This is called as national security.
So, what is the first duty or responsibility of any government to keep not only ready but well prepared modern and advanced technology in the defense system? Student, you know, we always hear or see the Indian government continuously updating its defense system. New advanced and modern technology they are starting to involve in our defense system. Can you tell some examples of complementary and contradictory national interest in the contents of India and our neighboring nations? Ways to safeguard national security. Now, we are going to see how we can safeguard or we can take protection of our national security. National security is closely connected with geography because national security is more likely to be endangered by nations who are geographically closer. A nation must assess the threat to its geographical boundaries and the source of that threat. So students, if we will see about India's borders, here in the map you can see Afghanistan, Pakistan, China, Bangladesh, Bhutan and Nepal. These are all geographically closer nations to India. But we have mostly threat from the China and Pakistan. In order to keep this threat at bay, the nation has to increase its military might. The nation has to use modern technology to predict the threat, to build weapon systems and modernize and update the defense forces. Resolving conflict by taking recourse to war in order to safeguard national security brings internal peace into danger. Hence, some nations try to get the support of the nations to manage the threat to their national security. Think and suggest. All countries are not at par with respect to military might. In such a situation, what needs to be done to implement a policy of arms control? So, students, already we learnt after the Second World War, all the countries are against the arms, and so we have seen already the non alignment movement, as well as in the next lessons, we will learn about the work of United Nations for arms control. Do you agree, students? Nations enter into arms races with others in an effort to increase their military might. Arms race leads to further increase the sense of insecurity. This sense of insecurity further increases the threats to national security. In order to avoid these dangers, we need arms control, not arms race. Read the following passage and answer the questions that follow. Question number 1. What message do you get from the above passage? From above passage, we will get the message that all the nations should try to resolve conflicts peacefully and by means of negotiation. Second question. How will the dialogue between nations increase? The interdependence of countries among each other should be increased. International cooperation should be increased. And countries should use different platforms and mediums for discussion and negotiation. What is the relationship between economic losses and war? Students, in the first lesson of political science, we learned the effects of First World War and Second World War, which affect the economy of participated as well as non-participated countries. India's security system. India's security system includes the army, the navy, and the air force, the three forces that defend the country. The responsibility of protecting the geographical boundaries is on the army. The navy protects the coastline. The air force is in charge of protecting India's airspace. Ministry of Defense controls all the three forces. The Indian Army is very big. It is the world's seventh largest army, and its chief is known as the general. The chief of the navy is known as the admiral, while the chief of the air force is known as Air Chief Marshal. These three chiefs are appointed by the President of India.
What is a military regime? Does democracy exist in such regime? Yes, students, democracy is there, but in the military regime, they give importance to duty rather than rights.
The President of India is the supreme commander of the defense forces. The defense forces cannot take any decision about war or peace without the consent of the President because it represents the civil power. In a democracy, civil leadership is considered superior to military leadership. Civil power means the power of people, and civil leadership means ministers or representatives of the civils or people. Many measures are taken so that all three defense forces in India's security system are modernized. India modernized the defense system by making new weapons, bombs, aircraft, ships, fighter planes, and submarines. For this, some research institutions have been set up. For example, DRDO, this research organization for defense working under the Indian government. Many training institutes have also been set up in our country to train the personnel of all ranks of our defense forces so that they can perform their tasks competently. For example, National Defense Academy NDA at Pune and the National Defense College NDC at Delhi. So students, in this half chapter we learned about India's defense system, and now in the next part of this lesson we will learn about paramilitary forces and about human security. Thank you.